Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by mixed martial artist Scott Thometz. Scott, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Scott, I was taking a look at your Facebook, and I couldn't help but notice your profile picture. Explain yourself. What's going on in this picture?
That's actually, the picture's photoshopped from a picture that me and a couple of my friends took in Japan of a kabuki mask we found after some fights, just messing around the hotel. And one of our photographers down at the gym had a little fun with it too, so I'm a fun-loving guy. I like to put it up there and flaunt it on my Facebook for a while, let people get some laughs.
Oh, I see. Now, this mask, is this something that maybe we could see you walk out in, or is it something that you don't have anymore? Explain the mask.
I don't even think we have it anymore. I think we found it on the ground. As we were walking the streets of Tokyo. So one of my buddies might have it, but no, I don't think I'll be walking out with a mask.
Oh, I see. Now, another thing I was curious about is your nickname, Tickle Fight. How did you get this nickname?
Once again, it's kind of a joke.
Right.
I hold people down and grapple a lot. So the joke was, if you can hold someone down to the point where you can, tickle them and win a tickle fight, make them say uncle and give up, then you can definitely hold them down and beat the crap out of them in a fight. So that's kind of how that got started.
I see. Now, like Benji Radich, his fighting style is face-smashing fu. You have Eve Edwards, he has thug jitsu. You have Jason Mayhem Miller has slap boxing. Is your fighting style tickle fighting?
I actually like to say I use kick jitsu.
Oh.
I like to use a lot of Muay Thai until they either force my opponent to either kickbox with me or come in and do jiu-jitsu with me. So that's what I like to say I do, is kick jitsu.
Oh, I see. Anyway, Scott, serious business here. Your beard, I love it. It's wild, it's crazy, and the best part about it is you have the hair to match. Sometimes, like a Johnny Hendricks, he has the wild beard, but he doesn't have much hair. I like how you've been able to put everything together. Just curious, when was the last time you were clean shaven?
Actually, like clean shaven, my full face?
Yeah.
Probably the day I got out of the Army, about 3.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's probably about it. I've always wanted to grow facial hair, but I unfortunately joined the Army before I could grow facial hair. So I had all this pent-up beard growing abilities that I'm now using to my full advantage.
I see. Now, what does your lady have to say about this?
Oh, she hates it. She absolutely hates my beard, everything about it, and my long hair. I think she loves me, so I just tell her to deal with it a little bit.
Oh, I see. Now, there's been some fighters who say that they grow the beard long so that they rub it up against somebody's face, and it's uncomfortable in that aspect. If they have the long beard, they like to use it as an advantage. And also, there's some myth out there, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, that you can actually absorb more punishment to the chin if you have the thicker beard. So, is there any truth to any of these? And is a reason why you have the beard because you can kind of use it for an advantage, rub it up against somebody, make it uncomfortable for them?
Well, first off, I like to pride myself on the softness of my beard, so using it as a weapon kind of doesn't work too well. It does help a little bit, I'd say, in gi jiu-jitsu, stopping some chokes maybe. But at the same time, when someone grabs my gi and get a handful of beard and yanks it around, that's not too pleasant as well. But no, I'm a manly man. I think that's pretty much why I grow the beard. I feel like everybody that grows a beard should grow one. I love facial hair. So right. I don't know. I just like beards.
Now, when is too long? Like how long does it usually go? Like, do you ever measure it? Do you ever look at it and say, well, I might need to clean it up a little? Like when does it get to that point?
I did like a no trim for a full year, and I looked just about homeless. So the wife kind of got on me for that. I use the looks she gives me to kind of determine when I need to trim my beard and when I don't.
Now, when you have a fight coming up, will she be less on your case about trimming it up?
Yeah, she knows. She knows I get kind of antsy when I'm cutting weight, so she don't like to push me too much with my facial hair on those weeks. But no, she lets me do what I want with it during the fight. pretty fun.
I see. Now, you mentioned that you like to keep it, pretty soft, smooth, and well kept. But has there ever been a time where you've been eating something and something's fallen in there, and then maybe a couple hours later you've gone through your beard and been like, "What the heck's this?"
Oh, I think just about every day. I haven't trimmed my mustache in about 2.5 years, so this thing's pretty long and out there, and I get food in there every time I eat. It's one of the hassles of having sweet facial hair, I guess. Lots of napkins. Lots of napkins.
Now, do you ever see a time where, like, the MMA referee, Mike Beltran, I believe is the guy's name, he has this mustache that just never stops. It looks like a beard, but if you go really, really close, it's just a mustache that he's completely grown long. Is that something that you're building for? Is that something that we could possibly see from you in the future?
No, I don't think I'll ever go that long. I don't think athletic commissions would let me go that long either. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm just fly by my seat of my pants sometimes, so who knows? I could shave tomorrow and just stop growing facial hair. You never know.
I see. Now, last question about your beard. I promise. Has an opponent ever said to you, like, "Hey, let's trim this up"? Like, I don't want to fight somebody who's got that around.
Not at all.
Nobody?
Usually compliments, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they tell me how awesome it is. Usually my opponents are jealous. Yeah, I haven't really had too many complaints. Like I said, I take pretty good care of it. I don't like to have a nasty beard. It gets long and gets bushy, but I like to take care of it.
Oh, I see. Well, Scott, you got a fight coming up at Combat Games MMA. I don't know what number it is. I don't know how many events they've had, but you're going to be fighting for Combat Games. Was today the last day of hard training, or since the fight's on a Sunday, will tomorrow be?
I've been having some issues with my body, so I've just been having a real nice, easy camp, just focusing on my cardio, my technique. I've been fighting a long time, training a long time. I fight every day, so I'm just trying to stay healthy and stay in shape and get to the fight and go do my work in there. So it's been a pretty easy camp.
You're fighting Jacob Boyson. What do you know about him?
Not a whole lot. I know he goes to jiu-jitsu a lot. He's a decent wrestler. I believe he's either a purple belt, brown belt under Ivan Salaverry's camp. So, no, he's probably well-rounded coming out of that camp. He'll be tough on the ground. So, let's go out there and see how the fight goes, I guess.
Now, let's talk about your past a little bit. I have a couple questions about how you got started in the sport, and you wrestled at Boise State. Then, after you got done there, you decided to join the Army. You were a Army Ranger paratrooper. Just curious, when you got done wrestling at Boise State, why did you decide to join the Army?
I actually got kicked out of Boise State because I didn't do too much school. I did a whole lot of wrestling, but didn't really. I was too young to really appreciate getting school paid for and wrestling. Made some mistakes and ended up joining the Army, and more or less to clean my life up and set my. I was wandering young out of middle, so it set me on the right path, I think. And that's also how I kind of got into jiu-jitsu. Is I wasn't done competing yet either when I joined the Army. So, but I didn't want to wrestle anymore. So I found jiu-jitsu and then started training it. And I guess that's how I originally got started fighting too, because that jiu-jitsu led me into the fight gyms, which led me into thinking I'm kind of tough, which letting coaches talk me into a fight, and got hooked. Loved it. So I actually had my first fight 2 weeks after I came back from Iraq. I trained up for it in Iraq, got back, and had it a couple weeks later. So it was pretty fun.
Let's go back in time a little bit. How long were you at Boise State? How many years did you complete?
Just 1 year. Yeah, I was just there 1 year. Like I said, I didn't take school too seriously, so the wrestling was there. Just the schooling wasn't.
So at the time, you were majoring in eligibility?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay. So you leave Boise State. You join the military. How long are you there? You mentioned that you were in Iraq. How long were you there? And also, when you come back, why jiu-jitsu? What exactly leads you to that?
I was in the Army for 7 years. I spent a year in Afghanistan and a year in Iraq as well. I love the military. It was a great time for me and stuff. I'm glad I got out. I got out originally to have a family, so I wouldn't have to deploy and be away from my kids and stuff. But now that I've gotten out and I own a gym and you know, fighting every day and teaching jiu-jitsu every day, you know, I couldn't imagine my life anything else. But yeah, 7 years in the military, so it's quite a bit. And jiu-jitsu, I never really knew about jiu-jitsu, to be honest, until the military. And then they kind of got introduced to me, and I was like, this is wrestling, except for I get to choke people as well, like to try to hurt them. And you know, I was a young kid in the Army getting brainwashed to be violent, go fight wars. So, you know, to me that was pretty cool, you know, a violent sport that, you know, I could use my wrestling as well, and, you know, so I already had a good base, and then just opened myself up to it and really just tried to learn as much as I could. That's how we kind of got started in jiu-jitsu.
Combat Fitness, that's your gym with Scott Jurgensen and Jesse Brock. Do you know those guys from college wrestling, or is it just because, you know, they're from Boise State, you went there at one point in time? Is that the connection there? Or
well, I knew Jesse. Jesse's a couple years older than me. Scott's 1 year older than me. So I met Jesse a couple years earlier when he was a freshman at Boise State, and started wrestling with him and getting to know him. And then Scott moved to Idaho when he was still in high school, and joined the Team Idaho, and we were on the same freestyle Greco teams and stuff. Rival high schools, but we still saw each other quite a bit. And so we wrestled together in high school, and then they were both on the team when I was on the team. You know, yeah, so I've known those guys quite a long time.
Right.
Have a good bond with them.
Now, you mentioned that when you were doing jiu-jitsu, eventually it led to MMA because you kind of just got sucked in. People said, you know, I think you should try this, and you just went with it. When does Jesse Brock and Scott Jurgensen, when did they come into the picture? When do you cross paths with them? How far into your MMA career are you when you link up with those guys?
About 5 fights, I think. I was 5-0, and I was getting out of the Army, so that was a big decision. And I knew I was coming back home, and I knew I was at least going to come here and start training, you know. So I got back and came to the gym and started training, and they had big plans for the gym, but didn't quite have the capital for it, and I had the capital for it at the time. So that's how we became business partners, and we did a complete 360 and moved the gym downtown Boise in a prime location, and renovated a whole warehouse, did all the work ourselves and stuff. You know, put about 3 months into it, and reopened the gym, and everything's been going great since. So that's kind of how I linked up with them, and just been doing my fight career with them. You know, we all coach each other, I would say.
Right.
No one's a head coach. We teach each other, we coach each other, and then all the fighters are kind of under us. And we go to everything and do all the corner and stuff. So we got a nice little team going on down here.
Oh, I see. Now, ownership-wise, is it split up 3 ways, or do you own a little bit more than them because you were the financial backer at the beginning, or is there a silent investor, a fourth person who's not a fighter involved? You know, could you explain the ownership?
Well, there's been quite a few owners. I think we've had probably about 8 owners in the last 3.5 years or so, all together. Right now, it currently stands as I think there's 5 of us, but me, Jesse, and Scotty definitely we own the majority. The other ones are kind of silent partners, and then our shares are pretty equivalent to each other.
Oh, I see. Now, with no one really being the main head coach at your gym, when you have a fight coming up, class-wise, are you still teaching classes? Are you still going around a regular routine like you don't have a fight coming up, or do you start to scale that back and just kind of focus on you?
I don't really focus on myself too much at all. I've had a pretty rough life on my body between the military and jumping out of planes and stuff. So my camps are strictly dependent on how my body feels and what I think I'm going to be able to accomplish that day. So I just stick to my normal routine, and you know, I like to think of myself more as a coach than a fighter. Coaching comes first for me, so I still teach during all the way up to my fights. That really doesn't change too much for me.
Now, who are some of the coaches at your gym that aren't fighters? You know, obviously you, Jesse Brock, Scott Jurgensen, you guys are fighters, but who are some of the guys that are just at the gym to coach?
We don't really have any. All of our coaches are fighters. We have one guy that comes in, and he's starting to kind of become one of our assistant coaches. He helps us corner a lot, named Brian Weaver. He used to fight, but he has some medical issues. So now he just kind of holds pads, and he's, I guess, the closest thing we have to a coach. He just comes in and helps out in his free time. He used to be part of the team, not so much anymore. But he's not the only one. I mean, me and Jesse are pretty much the coaches for the whole team. We go and corner everybody. So it's kind of hard on the family, miss out on a lot still, but we love to do our job. It's fun. We stick to the Northwest too, so we don't travel too much.
I see. Now, who's going to be cornering you for this fight?
Jesse and that guy Brian Weaver that I was talking about that comes in and helps hold pads and stuff. So those two guys will be my corners. I have a third guy come along as well to come be my moral support. Chuck Fordyce, he's one of our fighters.
Oh, okay. Now, not looking past your opponent on April 6th, but on May, I believe, 16th, I want to say, Front Street Fights, they're going to be putting on their first event. Jesse Brock, your friend and teammate, is going to be headlining the event. If you're able to get a win here and come out with no damage and no injuries, would you be interested in fighting on that card?
I was actually supposed to be the main event for that card, but my brother is getting married the day before, so out of the goodness of my heart, I decided to save my face, or the day after, save my face and not take the fight so I could look nice for the pictures. But I'm super excited for the Front Street Fights. That's something that we've been missing in Boise for a long time, is a pro show to actually debut some of our guys. We have quite a few fighters from our gym on that card, and I'm excited for it all. They're really doing a good job matchmaking, so it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, Scott, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you'd like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Intimidation Clothing. They've been sticking with me the last couple fights. They're a clothing company. They got actually quite a few fighters they sponsor, but I really like their stuff, and they work well, and they're real nice to me, so I appreciate them. And Cruise Combat, they make my shorts, best custom shorts in the game, I think, made right here in the USA. So, check them out if you're looking for some new shorts. I have nothing but praise for them. My chiropractor, he sets me right, and that's about it. Looking forward to going up and putting on a show in Washington for some fans, seeing some friends from up there too. So hopefully we'll have a good fight next weekend.
Scott, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it, and best of luck coming up on April 6th.
Of course.